Welcome to CK4RC.
So I looked that wrestling coach dead in his face and said, I don't know much about a headlock, but I can tell you anything you want to know about a beadlock. Hey, welcome back to CK4RC. We got RCs, we got bad jokes, we got this big dumb face. Listen, I'm just glad you keep coming back. If you would have told me that I'd still be doing this after a few months, I'd have been like, yeah, right. Mr. Tube would have already canceled me because isn't that how free videos on the internet work? Like you have to have certain ratings. I don't know. Nobody's told me to stop, so I'm just going to keep going. Actually, people have actually been encouraging it, if you can believe that or not. Blame only RCs. Check out this shirt, huh? I love this red and the black. Reminds me of Ball State. Huh? Chirp, chirp. Anyway, onlyrcs.com, they have gear for whatever kind of RC is in your wheelhouse, whether it's racing, whether it's crawling, um, racing and crawling, I think is about the extent of it. But they got shirts, they got blankets, um, they got cups, they got stickers, they got all kinds of good stuff, all kinds of sizes, all kinds of colors. Go check them out. Onlyrcs.com. Use my discount code CK4RC for 20% off. I'm going to drop it downstairs like I always do. Anyway, let's get to the good stuff. So, speaking of beadlock, I figured that, maybe there's some people that are curious about how to mount beadlock tires and wheels, or put it to get the wheels and the tires together. Um, because sometimes if you're not paying attention, they can be tricky. And if you've never done it before, it can be aggravating. So what I want to do today, I got two wheels, two different kinds. They're both beadlock, because that's the whole point. And then I got a couple beadlock wheels. Nope, tires. The wheels, I already said that. A couple beadlock tires. Nothing special, just some cheapies that I want to test. And we'll be doing some testing with. I've got a whole slew of tires. We'll be doing some testing on different treads and tires and compounds and all kinds of stuff at some point in the future. Probably going to be a while because I've got a whole bunch of rigs that I need to get out of the box before I start messing around with a whole bunch of tires. Anyway, back to the point of what we're going to do today. I'm going to flip this camera around so you don't have to stare at this for a whole lot longer. But what I want to do, I want to show you how to mount beadlock wheels and tires. I've got a couple different ones right here. I've got a steel Injora beadlock wheel. And this is just steel, so it's not like super heavy. But I do have some beadlock. Words are just not working for me right now. Beadlock ring. Oh my goodness gracious! I have brass rings to go on the steel beadlock wheels to make them a little bit heavier. Whew, man, anybody else smell toast? What just happened? Whatever. I have a brass ring that I can put with the steel wheel to add more weight to it. A lot of people that build scale rigs, they like weight. It's good for trail trucks, pulling trucks for sure. And then you've got guys that are flat out comp rig builders. And the secret to a great comp rig is as little weight as possible. You want a great center of balance, with about a 60-40, 60% weight distribution in the front, 40% in the rear. As low of a center of balance, center of gravity as possible, and as little weight as you can possibly get. So what I'm going to do is I've got a couple. Well, I've just got one right now. The other ones are over there somewhere. But I have just a really light, simple plastic beadlock wheel, and they're both beadlock, so essentially they work the same way, but the way that you construct them is a little bit different. So I wanted to show you both, just in case you're curious if you've never done it before. If you tried it and it didn't work, you didn't get a good seal on your beadlock, whatever the case is. So let me flip this camera around and stop stammering for words, and you don't have to keep looking at this mess. And then I'll show you what we're looking at here. So I've got the wheels, I've got the tires. I'm going to break out my little hardware screwdriver, hex driver. So, yep, here we go. Okay, so I said I had a couple generic tires. Decided to swap them out for these Endura tires, just for the sake of the video, just to see if we can make it a little simpler. So went ahead and got my screwdrivers out here, or my hex drivers, I guess, to be more precise. And there's a bunch of tiny little screws in here, 6 to be precise. So it helps if I'm using the right size hex driver for the right size wheel. And while I'm taking these out, I'm not really paying any attention to rhyme or reason or order or anything else. However, whenever I get these mounted on, or whenever I get the tire mounted on the wheel and I'm reinstalling these little screws, I will do it similar to your real life car. Whenever you're mounting a tire on your real life car, you want to fasten the lug nuts in a bit of a star pattern. Now, because there's 6 of these instead of 5, it's not really a star pattern, but it'll be kind of opposite. And so taking those all out, now I have a 4-piece wheel. So I got the back, front, ring, and then this hex, axle hex. I don't know what this thing's called. So if you do, go ahead and drop the comment down below about what this thing, the technical term for this thing is. I'm going to keep calling it an axle nut. That's what I'm going to do. So in terms of mounting these, now you can see that the tread pattern on these is directional. So you want the tread pointing in the direction that the vehicle is going to be turning primarily, I mean, going forward. You know what I mean? So because I'm not going to be mounting these on a vehicle anytime soon, I'm not really worried about which direction the tread is going. But what you would want to do is figure out which direction the tread needs to be going, and then figure out which side the back and the front goes to get the direction correct. So what I did was I took that steel ring and I just crammed it in that cram hole right there. And now you see how there's that little lip right here. It's on both sides of that steel ring. So what I want to do is I want to take the rubber, the bead, and I want to just kind of fit it up into that little groove. And I'm going to take this, the back of the rim, and it's going to kind of push it in place and see if I've got kind of a good seal around the bead there. And it's not looking real good. I don't like the way that's looking. So take it out, try it again, and I think this one is going to look a lot better. All right, so I got the back just kind of in place there. Now you do want to make sure with your wheels, you want to make sure that the spokes and the hex holes line up. Otherwise, what'll happen is your wheels will end up looking crazy, to where your spokes end up kind of all out of sorts and looking like this and just crazy, instead of lining them up to where they look real nice. So I'm not sure if that demonstration worked very well right there, but because I had it sitting all kind of crazy. All right, so nope, it's not quite right either. So I want to, what do I need to do here? Okay,
I think this is what I'm looking for, right about here. Try to get that lined up the best I can before I start pressing that into place. And that is pretty much where I want it to be. So you can see that the spokes are lined up, the holes are lined up with each other. And what I'm going to do is use the magnetic feature on my driver here and go ahead and start pushing this through. Got it through one. There's the start on the back side. You can see that. So it's barely sticking out that back side right there. Now what I want to do is take the axle hex and just kind of put it in here and get it to spin to where it kind of, it doesn't click into place, but you can kind of feel it slide in. So then once you get that, then you just start screwing the little screw in. Now you don't want to get it super tight because you're going to have to go back around and tighten all of them anyway. And like I said, you want to go kind of opposite whenever you're putting these in, just to make sure that things are tightening up and lining up right. The other thing to keep in mind whenever you're working on these things is you don't want to over tighten things anyway, because this hardware is, I mean, just small and delicate. It doesn't take much to totally strip out one of these little hex screw heads. And it also doesn't take much to just snap one completely off. So when you're screwing it in and you start to get a little bit of resistance, well, it's probably about time to stop screwing it in then. That's how that works. So you just go around and you get all these screws in here. And what I would normally do before I put all these screws in is I would really examine this tire and make sure that I got that beadlock seated properly. But whenever I was putting the wheel together, I saw that it was in really good place, really good position. So that is how you want it to look. That is a good looking seated beadlock wheel and tire. It's as easy as that. Now, there's also these simpler beadlock wheels. What you'll see, these come stock on several types of RTRs these days. So the good thing with these is there's really only 3 screws involved, or 3 hex screws, whatever you want to call them. I call them what I want. You can call them what you want. So just take these guys out of here. It would help if I could get the wheel to stop spinning. It would also help if I didn't have this camera right in front of my face to where I couldn't see what I was doing. So 3 screws. This one's a little bit more simple. 3 pieces. Take the wheel, get it whatever direction you want. Take the ring, cram it in the cram hole. You want to get the ring completely inside both sides of the tire to where it's completely enveloped. All right, just like that. And then take this, slap it on there. That looks great. And then you want to make sure that the 3 screw holes on the back side line up with the 3 screw holes on the front side. And then just slap it into place like this, something like that. And then I am just going to start screwing stuff together, because I'm pretty sure that's all it takes. Not sure if I can get this. Oh, I think I got it. There we go. Just like that. But what I'm seeing is that this tire has already popped out of this beadlock. Now, I'm going to go ahead and finish fastening this down because I want to show you what it looks like when you don't do it right. And as you can see, that tire is not clamped into that wheel. So this is not what you want. If you tried to mount this to your vehicle and drive, you're just going to end up shredding your tire. It's going to rip apart. You don't want that. So what I would need to do is take this all apart and make sure that I've got a good seat on that bead to where it's really clamped and locked into that wheel. So I'm not going to worry about that right now, but I just wanted to show you kind of the goods and the bads with these things, if you will, if you don't do it properly. So the steel wheel went a whole lot easier. The plastic one just takes a little bit more finesse. And so that is just something to be aware of and keep an eye out for. So, but that's all it takes though. And just take your time, be patient, and be prepared to be frustrated.
So there's the beadlock tutorial. If you've never messed with beadlocks before, then good for you. These things they can just be a pain. And if you have messed with beadlocks before and you've lived to tell about it, even more good for you. So they really are great equipment. It's a great setup. It's a great feat of engineering. I don't know what you want to call it. But beadlock wheels are just so much better than glued wheels and tires. In my opinion, the glue breaks down over time. It just shreds tires. You can't reuse tires, at least not as easily. So definitely recommend going with beadlock wheels and tires whenever you're looking at upgrades. But as you can see, this is how to do it, and then this is how not to do it. And that is part of the frustration with these little things, is just the precision and the tediousness, the tediousy, the tenacity. I don't know if any of those are real words. I'm going to say all of them. I already did say all of them. I'm going to stick with all of them. I don't know. If you know, then tell me down below. I write books. I'm not good with words. Weird how that works, right? Anyway, so there is the instructional video on the goods and the bads of doing beadlock wheels. Hopefully you found it helpful. I do have some ideas for some other instructional videos coming as well, as I do some work on various rigs for different projects that I've got. So while I'm tearing stuff down, I figured I might as well kind of talk about it, because the other thing that drives me nuts about RC is these little bitty parts, especially for these micro rigs, nothing comes with instructions. And you really just have to figure it out. And hopefully you don't break something. My house might be caving in. I don't know if the microphone picked up that noise. I don't know if that was a natural disaster, if it was a man-made disaster. I don't know. It's probably fine. Don't worry. Don't call 911 or the National Guard. I don't think I need any of those guys coming out right now. It's probably fine. And if it's not, I'll figure it out later, I guess. So whatever. Thanks for coming back. Hit all the stuff downstairs except for the thumbs down. Don't hit the thumbs down. That's rude. Don't do that. Hit the thumbs up, hit the like, the subscribe, comment, share it. Let's get this over. Get this all over the internet. Let's get it all over the place. So let's do that. I'll have some good surprises coming up soon. Gonna have a blooper reel coming, because as we saw a little bit ago, whenever I kind of stroked out for a little bit, blacked out, whatever the situation was, I just have a hard time staying on track sometimes. So something to look forward to, just me messing stuff up even more than normal. And then also I've got another giveaway on the horizon as well. And yeah, so look forward to that as well. But thanks for coming back, and I'll see you next time.